Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's been a while. We're going to do a live stream. We got some cool stuff tonight. We're going to be doing a couple different things for some other people to come on board here. We're going to get, as I'll remember, we had this foam here. And I cut it up. I put the damage on. So now it's time to start actually painting this bad boy up. And we're going to do this really very simple. Just some nice black paint as the base. And yeah, this is what I do. This is just like a dollar store brush. I don't use anything really special. I've got like the dollar store like black paint. I would just paint it on here. And that's what we're going to do. Make sure we get in all the holes and all that. If you're brand new to making terrain, this type of foam is really good to do. Mythos, my brother, how's it going? I'm just going to get this painted up. We'll just do the base coats today. And I also have some paper down here to make sure I don't get paint on the table. I take care of the furniture and all that. So yeah, we're just going to start getting this done up. So how everybody's been? Not bad, my brother. Good. I know things have been stressful for you, man. I hope everything works out. I really do. So we're just going to get some paint on here. So how's everybody doing? How am I? Oh, it's been a busy week. I'm glad to be able to get back to this. Family's been put through the ringer with colds and bugs and gastro this and that, and it's not been a lot of fun. So we're all recovering. I'm just hiding for problems that they don't exist till Monday. I'm sure it's no, man. I've been there, man. I've been in those situations where things can be very stressful and you're just trying to keep yourself together, trying to, like do stuff for the family and all that, and make sure that everyone's paint over myself. Yeah, no, I understand, man. Hopefully everything works out for you. But yeah, so we're just gonna let some of this dry so we can actually get to the back side. And I need to figure out which end I'm going to paint up, because one of these will be glued to this longer piece here. This is gonna be like the front, and each side's gonna be glued here. Now I've got the other side here, so eventually it'll look something like that. Two sides, and then we're going to hot glue again these together. And then we also have the top piece, but that'll happen a little bit later. I'll let this sit there and dry. But yeah, no, it's been a crazy week. Lots of sickness and all that. So family's slowly getting better. It's been taking a bit, but them's the breaks. Trying to get everybody healthy before Christmas so we can go visit my grandmother at her house. I'm gonna be careful with. She's elderly now. Well, we're all getting better. We are. Thank you. We're all getting better. But Christmas is going to be at my grandmother's house again, as it is almost, well, I say almost every year. Last year was, I think, our first year back after COVID and all that craziness, right? Finish up my Vindicator. Oh, I have two Vindicators sitting downstairs, painted up for my Black Templars, which are probably going to be somewhat well, they're definitely going to be outdated. They already are. I kind of want to paint them up for my Ultramarines, but I did such a good job in the black. I don't want to cover it up. So I'm trying to figure out if I should just leave those or if I should do those. I don't know yet. But I saw some of your stuff there, man. It looks great. The Vindicators look awesome already, and yeah. So we are gonna make sure everybody's healthy before Christmas so we can all go see grandparents and family a lot. Could do one and one. I'm not sure what you mean by that. What I was thinking of doing is maybe selecting doors and panels and painting them blue, and that way it sort of looks Ultramarine-ish, because Yeah, they look cool, and I want to use them again. Let's get this done up here. Make sure we get everything as best as we can. I should have grabbed the white paint, but I probably won't need it tonight. This is going to take a little while to dry. I'm kind of putting on thick. Yeah, so there's going to be lots of dry brushing afterwards of the gray, and then different shades of gray, and get some. I'm really actually use one of our Citadel paints in there. One I use for lots of basing I do for my models, so to add a little extra tone to it. It'll be a bit. It's the Ushabti bone. It's one of the other ones I use when I base my model. So I'll do the same thing on this. Use a little Ushabti bone on certain edges to kind of make them pop a bit more than they should, or then I make them pop a little bit more. That way they stand out a bit more. And sometimes you got to go over these things multiple times, because even when you think you got it on thick enough, you kind of got to go over it again. I can still see little white spots, but that's okay. That we'll figure out. But yeah, no, it's been a week. I hope everyone's week's been good. I know there's been lots of cool stuff happening, and getting some new books coming out, and that was a big thing that came out today. All the new books, and of course the new model. Let me see here, because I'm a silly person. I can never remember exactly what I'm supposed to say anymore. All these names that they throw at us. Where did that go? Yeah, there was. If I can find it here. Where'd it go? All the new books, yes. Ufthak Blackhawk. That looks like a fantastic model. That was the big reveal. Of course, a bunch of other new books came out. Nothing wrong with some new books. New books are always good. There's one about I'm definitely thinking I should get. It might be the Orc book, but we'll see. And I'm dripping on myself. That's what I get for drinking water. Dripping on myself. Silly me. There was another book there that I was looking at that I thought was really cool. Now, if I can only find it. Where did that go? Yes, there it is. The new line. Morven Vale, Spear of Faith, looks pretty cool. I was watching some of those videos there for that one, and it's cool. She's a weird character. It just kind of came out of nowhere, but I'm pretty excited for what that story's going to bring. I've always liked sister battle stories. There's their sort of their faith and what it drives them to, and how it, depending on what perspective you're looking from, it can make them even worse than the forces they're supposed to be fighting against. And I always found that intriguing. But I watched a bit of the interview. I've already been. Yeah, no, it should be fun. I think it'll be good. And she's a really cool character because she's brand new, and I like the way they've designed her as being sort of this almost like a puppet. The other High Lords wanted her as a puppet, someone they could easily control, someone that would easily be swayed to do what they wanted to do, obviously to consolidate their own personal power. There's if you're really into the political side of the Imperium, that whole event of Gulliman coming in and getting rid of people, and certain sides trying to assassinate him. Yes, there was actually people in the High Lords of Terror that didn't like what Gulliman was doing, sort of trying to retake the Imperium and make it viable again. And they went, no, we're not going to do that. They tried to assassinate Gulliman, which shocks me to no end. Like, who tries to assassinate a Primarch, a returned Primarch who's trying to make the Imperium better? And these guys, no. That was pretty crazy. Well, I like how she was this... they meant to make her this puppet, but her faith, maybe not in herself, but her faith in the Emperor is, like many sisters, absolutely resolute. Like, it will never fail. So they definitely miscalculated on that part. Eight little dents here. I'm trying to get this. Go away. I think it's interesting. She's good stroking flames with her sisters. Herself never speaks miracles over the imprisoned. It's like an unreligious nun. Yeah, I think from what I understand of her and what I got from the interview is that she is very super faithful in the emperor, but her faith in herself is lacking quite fiercely, and that's a dangerous thing for a sister to have, a lack of faith in her own abilities. That is kind of a hazard of the job, I guess. What it was like in the Pariah Nexus show they had on there, you have a sister who, because they failed, her faith is just shattered. If you have seen the Pariah Nexus, one of the characters is a sister battle, and throughout it, she's her faith is just broken because they fought against the Necrons and lost badly, and so she's her faith is shattered to the point where a bunch of civilians that Sakan brings, the Space Marine Primaris Sergeant from the Salamanders chapter, and she thinks that they need to be killed right away. They're horrible. They're heretics. They're beasts. Their faith failed. And of course, she's just projecting at that point. It's all about how she failed. Her faith is what's broken, and she needs to deal with that and come to terms with it. Which she does, and then bad stuff happens after that. But the other thing I want to talk about, if you saw the title there, it's holiday memories. We're on the 9th of December now. I've got our tree is up. It's mostly decorated. We're still getting a few things settled here and there for decorations, but I know for a lot of people, this is when you get a nice chunk of Warhammer 40,000 or Warhammer gaming stuff, family members and all. You always get something nice. And it's weird in a strange way. I kind of associate winter and Christmas with the hobby, because that's when I got stuff, right? And that's when you had a little extra time off to play with stuff. I remember getting the 4th edition starter set, the Battle for McCraig, and that's all I did for the Christmas break. Just build them, paint them, played through the missions, right? It was tons of fun. It was crazy fun, and it was, it was a lot of cool stuff there. That's the other thing. I've learned so many different things over the Christmas holidays and all. A lot of 40K stuff, obviously. But I want to ask you, what is your sort of favorite? What's your favorite holiday memory that has to do with the hobby and Christmas? Right, we're coming to Christmas now, whether you celebrate or not, around the holiday spirit time, right? It brings up another cool thing. I want to get to. I got to move some stuff here. I actually visited my parents' house, and I was taking my kids through what was my old bedroom. And they were looking at, my siblings' old bedrooms at the house and all that. Man, I found a Christmas gift I got. Now, it's not 40K, but it was cool, and I had to bring it up. So I found my old Star Trek Next Generation Enterprise D technical manual. Yes, I'm a Star Trek fan, right? I think you guys all knew that. But this is so cool because it's done by Rick Sternbach, and Michael Kuda. Michael Kuda is one of Star Trek, The Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, all look the way they did because of this guy. And so it's a whole beautiful technical manual. It's very specific, right? Take down to all these different charts of internal coordinate systems, where where you are on the Enterprise, things breaking down SOCs or modular section coordinates, right? All the way to how the touch panels worked on the bridge, right? The flight control. You have the con here, all the different things in the con, right? How they and this is always one I love much. How they get coordinates in space, and then when the captain says, head this way by this way, and how do they figure that out? All the way to how the engines work, and we had stuff for the weapons systems as well, thrusters, right? How the everything worked, dumping out the warp core, which I think we saw in a few episodes or a few movies as well. How the transporters work, how their food replicators work, sensor arrays, weapon arrays, the whole shebang. One of my favorites, though, if I can find it here, phase. So you got like photon torpedo launchers and where they are on the ship. It's cool, as you never saw it in the show, but there's actually a photon torpedo launcher on the saucer section. Now, we all know about the back one and the front one, but there's one there that we never really got to see, right? It's one of those cool design things that you never got to see, right? The battle bridge, personal phasers and stuff like that. The auto destruct system basically tells you this picture. It's hard to see, shows you where all the bombs are, how everything blew up to make sure the ship was totally, absolutely destroyed. Environmental systems, right? You get the medical bay, right? So you can see the medical bays there and all this, the cool medical stuff they use. It says here, a close examination on the medical displays in 6 bays shows that one of the patient's status indicators is labeled medical insurance remaining. It says don't bother trying to freeze frame your VCR. That's how old this is. We're not talking DVDs, we're talking VCRs. When did this come out? 1991. So it's right near the end of Star Trek Next Gen, but it's another one of those things that way too small to read on television. Lots of cool stuff, even down to shuttles. I'm trying to get the cool escape pods. And here's what's really cool is about the same time they were looking at the next generation of what the Enterprise would be, right? And they had projected upgrades in the future directions, the road to 171E. Now, obviously, in Star Trek, we know E was a sovereign class, and now, thanks to Picard, we've seen F and G, right? But I love these cool designs because some of these, it's hard to see here, but some of these became very close to what we saw later, right? And I had some that stuck to the typical design. This one was way out there with like a snake body, but some of these with a little bit of twisting became ships later on. That one almost looks like a Voyager. This one looks like the Nova class we saw later on. That's what they actually say. It's they're looking at Nova class starships. Now, obviously, in if you ever watched Voyager, Nova class starships were not this big thing like the Enterprise. They were small little science vessels, right? And then mission backgrounds and obviously all this cool stuff. So I found it. I haven't seen this thing in years and years and years, obviously, but it was really cool to see and have fun with. So it's one of those things. Let's see here. That's such a cool hobby gift. I mean, it's something. I got this back in '91. So this is that I got that book even before I ever started the hobby. Style book reminds me of some of the old GURPS books I used to have. What's GURPS? You'll have to excuse me on that. I'm not sure what GURPS is. But yeah, so yeah, lots of that's pretty cool. I don't know. I liked it. I'm old. I'm an old guy now, so I've got all these old books. I love the fact that it says VCR in there. I mean, that doesn't make me feel old at all. I haven't seen a VCR player in 20 years now, probably. That's not true. Yeah, it's about 20 years, actually. So that's kind of cool. But a huge range of tiers of books of way back in the day. It spins for general use for role. Oh, cool. Yeah, this was like a full-on, like, if you were a big Star Trek nerd and you want to know exactly how computer systems worked, or if you want to know operations management, priority and resource allocation on the Enterprise work, bearings and measure relative to ship's attitude, right? Impulse engine configuration, if you really want to know that. And I read this thing back to front, right? So it was a lot of fun. It was cool. A little memory there to share with everybody. Yeah, so back to the hobby and Christmas. There's been a ton of times where it's been like, hey, it's Christmas time. That's when I always get my hobby stuff. And that goes right back to when I first got into the hobby. Like when I first got in, it was the middle of summer. I bought, I talked about before, it's the Ultramarines Codex from 2nd edition. For Christmas, I said, I love this stuff. I gotta have. Of course, I was younger. I didn't know any better. I just asked for Warhammer. My parents knew no idea. Remember, for Christmas, I got, it was one Christmas. So this was 1995, I think, at this point. Yeah, 95. And I got I got some stuff for Christmas, but it was just a mix of stuff, right? I got a box of 5 um, monopose Imperial Guard stormtroopers, and they were all the same thing, just stuck there with the same pose, right? And they had the berets on, the big backpacks, and the hot shot las guns. I can't remember if that's what they called them back then. I got a box of 5 plastic Space Marines. Right, so those are my first Ultramarines. I got them. I painted them up right away. I did a horrible job. Obviously, I was just trying to get them done. I got a blister of 2 metal Chaos Beastmen, and I got a blister of Morgana Le Fay. Right, so the Beastmen were obviously Warhammer Fantasy, and Morgana Le Fay, full metal model, right? And she was Morgana Fay. She's sitting side saddle on top of this big unicorn, and she had a frog familiar with her. I don't know what happened to all those models over the years. I misplaced them or got rid of them. The Classic Stormers were pretty cool, but yeah. So yeah, they were bray, no armor. They were in military fatigues, these big honking backpacks, and that was it. You put the backpack on and you put the arms on, or the hand holding the las gun went on. That was it, right? And the same thing with the Space Marines. You put a backpack on, put the arms into the slot, right? So that was I think that was my first actual Warhammer holiday gifts, right? Obviously, as it goes on, you buy your own stuff and go from there. But yeah, third edition, I got. I think pretty much third edition onwards, I bought my own stuff after that. But like I said, I got the Battle for McCraig for Christmas one year, which is really cool. It was a nice little gift. And again, I spent all the time putting that stuff together. It was fantastic. So now, just going to go over the parts I missed. That stuff is drying a bit. And I can get the rest on here. Go over it a bit, trying to get everything done up. Now I've left the bottom I'm not going to paint, and the sides I kind of have to figure out which way this is going to go on here. So I think I may paint the end on here. Yeah, this one I definitely want the end on. I got to watch my markings here because these are the damage from the shots coming at it. I want to show that it's actually been in an active battlefield. So we're going to get these parts done up here. That looks much better. This part I'm not going to bother gluing on because there's no point. It's just going to get glued in. It'd be a waste of time. But yeah, no. So I want to know what what was like a favorite hobby gift of yours? Yeah, so that one's going there. So this is going to go here. So we'll paint the side and this end after. So let me know, what was a favorite hobby gift you got over the Christmas period? Something that really got you. It doesn't matter if it was last year or 20 years ago, right? Something nice you got that really stood out and remember. Like I said, I really have the two together. My hobby and Christmas, there's interlinked just because I have so many good memories. There we go. That's looking better. I'm getting there. Make sure I've got everything done up. The top done. Oop, I'm getting paint in my knuckles. That's no bueno. All right, so there's a bit more done on that one. It's a bit thick. There we go. And then once these dry up a bit, I can go over again, make sure the paint has actually gotten into all the little crevices and cracks I need. That way I know I'm not gonna have any popping up later, and it's my eyes always get drawn to that if I've missed a spot. Like I can already see some on here. It just bothers me. I mean, from the 3 foot rule, so like 3 feet away when you're looking at it, you probably won't notice it, but it's one of my, it's a pet peeve I have. I need to have it looking good. A little bit of OCD there for you. All right, gonna let that dry up a bit. I'll get more paint on myself than on these. But yeah, so like this Christmas, I don't know. I think this Christmas is gonna be a nice one. It's gonna be a bit home. Freak, what are you painting, brochacho? Hello, brochacho. Yeah, brochacho. I'm actually painting up, God, it's been a few weeks now. Since I did one, I've actually took, it was, Freakalicious. Yes, Freakalicious is Freakalicious. He's the freakiest of Freakalicious freakiness. I'm getting that. I remember I was talking about getting those pieces of styrofoam together. Well, I did. I'm building basically a gun pit. Not a gun pit, but not a turret as well. Trying to think here. Like, yeah, basically a gun nest, a big gun nest. And I'm just getting the black paint down before I start doing all the dry brushings here. So that's what I'm painting. Freakalicious. I didn't have hobby in my use. My stories are much more recent. My first hobby christening was Stormfang gunship from my lovely wife. It was a huge sign. I was supporting my nerd. Oh, that's awesome. Another one was Badass Warbus named Rex that free painted for me. See, again, like I said, it could be from last year. The timing doesn't really matter, right? Someone I love converting painting Chaplin bike for him and keeping it a secret for months. Well, I see, that's cool. That's nice. I need to get one of those Chaplins on a bike. I actually have some riders I need to build up. Haven't done that yet. They're still in their packaging. Yeah, so right now we're just working on painting up the walls. This is actually going to be the front section there, and I spent some time clipping out along the edge to show pieces of the concrete being blasted away by a small arms fire. There's actually going to be a top piece as well that I have to paint out, and it's going to be on little, I actually found little spacers. I have just a ton of bits because of all the stuff I built around the house and nails and all, and I have these spacers. And I'm going to glue gun them to to that piece, and it's going to sit on top, and it has enough space that my Marines will actually be able to see out of it, or any models can see out of it on all the sides, right? So that would be cool. First thing is I get this part painted up, then glue that gun, then get that hot glued together, and then paint the last part. That way I have all the measurements correct. It's also going to have like a middle floor here put in, little space, just so that, the models can see out properly. That way they can be seen and shot at as well. So yeah, so that's cool. But this is the part that kind of takes the longest, is painting it and then waiting for it to dry so I can continue painting it up. One of these is pretty much done. This one here is, now this part I've just left the bottom white because I'm not going to paint that. And this part is actually going to get hot gunned. Something sort of like, I don't want to touch that right now. It's not ready yet. We're getting there. See, I'm getting the black paint on the there. It's not quite ready. It will be soon. It will be soon. But yeah, we're talking about, the hobby. For me, the hobby and Christmas are linked because I've gotten so many things over the years at Christmas time, right? Plus, like I said earlier, it's a time where you have more time to do the painting and do building and have a few extra minutes out of your busy day just to get something done, have some fun with it. So yeah. So the question I ask everybody is, what's one of your favorite hobby Christmas stories? Something you've got. Mythos just had a whole bunch of cool ones here. I think it doesn't matter if it was last year or 20 years ago or 5 years ago. They're all there. There's just great memories. The timing really doesn't matter that much. Oh, and if you missed it, I went back to my parents' house, or my house, my old home, and my kids were asking about, seeing the rooms on. I found this old thing. So this was actually a Christmas gift from a long time ago. I want to show this off because this isn't part of my nerdy obsession here. A technical manual for the Enterprise D, all the way from 91. And we were looking through it earlier, and there's a reference to VHS players in there, and who's seen a VHS player in the last little while, huh? Yeah, so I just made myself feel incredibly old. So that's always cool. But yeah, so that's what we're doing right now. Just having a chat. If you guys have anything that you guys want to talk about, obviously throw it in the chat and we'll talk about it, right? Hell child, what's howling, man? Right now, waiting for some paint to dry so I can continue basing this lovely little bits of foam. We're turning into a bunker or a gun box or a pill box, or whatever you want to call it. It's going to do a little bit of both. But we're just waiting for things to dry up suitably here so I stop getting paint all over my hands, because that's what I'm doing right now. That's kind of what I'm doing. And I asked the question, for me, Christmas is linked with the hobby because it's when I've over the years, I've got lots of cool stuff during Christmas. So I was just wondering if you guys, if you had any stories, if you had any cool hobby stuff, gifts that you got. Neith has already put some up there. Let me know what if there's anything you got, a lovely gift or a hobby memory from Christmas. Why am I spilling water all over myself? Ugh. So yeah, hopefully this will be dry enough soon. Yeah. Hertz Books ruled specialty riffs. GURPS. See, Mythos mentioned that as well, GURPS. So that, what did he call it? The General Universal Role-Playing System. That's cool. I never actually heard that before. Back when I was younger, I played some D&D, so I had that sort of thing. It was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons way back in the day. Back when, Sip, hey. Gee, and he's funkin' hungry. Yeah, I'm still gonna say I'm shocked that you had in that video you did that the ice cream machine was actually working. It's never working here. All right, so now we're just gonna get some on the end here because this one is on the ends that's gonna get exposed. I just want to make sure I get all the white gone in there. Gotta have the. Yeah, it's always working here. I have over 200 other books. Yeah, I remember hearing about Rifts. I never played Rifts. One of the other things I got a lot when I was younger were those choose your own adventure books. Those were always a bit fun. The choose your own adventure stories. Those are always cool. You get a little. Or pros we want to fill it halfway. Yeah, it had a cool submarine robot textile mech and Rifts back in the day. Goose, Hellchild, and Dima Rose. Yeah, we're all here now. Okay, so you are going. You're not dry yet, and I'm getting more. So you're gonna go this way. So I gotta paint this end. Yeah. I remember those cool choose your own adventure books, You get a choice. If you want to do this, turn to page 52. If you want to do this, turn to page 16. Right? Not that I ever cheated. If I made the right choice, just went back anyways. No one ever did that, right? Those are cool. I had a bunch of those that were done with Marvel. I had one with Wolverine in it. So we're almost there on the first sort of coat. Now I'm not doing this part or the bottom here because these are going to get glued here. So what I need to do is kind of figure out where I'm going to paint to. So I don't want to put paint where I'm going to put glue because it doesn't really work out well. There we go. So put these aside here. Again, what's cool is this is like a dollar store brush, and I'm using some of the dollar store black paint. Really don't need anything else, right? I'm just trying to. Plus, I'm kind of hard on these brushes because you see I'm dabbing here. I'm trying to get in all the little nooks and crannies because I'm OCD when it comes to these things, and I don't want any white popping through after I've take any time to paint it up. I know there's like the whole 3-foot rule. You'd be far enough back way, it shouldn't bother me, but it'll bother me if I don't. So let's get the inside done here. There we go. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay, and there we go. We'll kind of just leave it at that and let all that dry up. We have to do some white paint. I didn't think I'd actually get to like starting to dry brush it up, but what I'll do is various shades of gray. For those, for training, these. I'm assuming you're talking about the brushes. Yeah, for the brushes, for bait train or dollar store brushes are great because you can wreck them and not really feel bad. I would never try using. See, there's the other downside. And black paint, some on my arm there. Don't even know how that got there. But yeah, stuff comes off easy too, which is nice. All right. But yeah, well, I'm at work. You'll have a great night. Yeah, absolutely, man. Just playing some Mass Effect Andromeda, listening to this legend. Which legend? I'm no legend. I simply do my duty. Well, have fun at work, my friend, and have a good night. Be safe, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. It's always so awesome to have you here. It really is. But yeah. Peace. I just said peace. All right. But yeah, so I may actually have to get some white paint. I'm going to let this dry up. Now, again, on this piece here, this is more for like newer people. If I can get this. I left some white spots there, and that's where these pieces here are going to connect. I don't like to put paint there. It gets all kind of gooey. Oh my god, what a mess. Look at that black paint on everything. But yeah, if you guys have any cool stories of cool hobby gifts you received at Christmas, that's what we're talking about today. All right. I'm gonna try to drink. White spots. Yes, white spots. You don't want to. I'm getting paint all over this to clean it off. But yeah, so and the other reason I like to bring up these things and have them talk about these happy memories is because this is a really it is a stressful time of year, isn't it? Have you not noticed that? It's weird. Sometimes I feel like I'm Charlie Brown in the Charlie Brown Christmas. You're dealing, you're having to try and stay stoked for the holidays and all the cool stuff that comes with it because you're having to deal with getting all the presents and dealing with the crowds of people and the commercialism. So I always like to go back and kind of think about all those cool things I got when I was a kid when it was just about the fun, right? Not that it's not fun now. I love seeing my kids' faces on Christmas morning when they open up the presents and all that. It's a lot of fun. It's so much fun to see that because you can kind of remember that same joy you had when you opened up your presents, right? So, like I remember, because I'm also a huge Final Fantasy fan. I remember I had to have Final Fantasy VII, right? I played Final Fantasy 3/6 back on the Super Nintendo. I played Chrono Trigger. I played Final Fantasy 2. I played Final Fantasy 1 on the Nintendo. I needed, like, I had to have it. I saw the commercials. Oh my god, I had to have it. And of course, my dad was like, "Well, we'll see," I mean, and then he handed me this little thing, right? And I opened up, and there's Final Fantasy VII. And I lost my mind because the only way he would have got me that is if he also got me, and that's of course when the Xbox came out, and there was my PlayStation, and I lost my bloody mind. It was great. Oh, it was so much fun, and I played the hell out of the game. I still play that game. My wife got me those really small little mini PlayStations because I don't even remember what I did with my PlayStation years ago. I can't remember what I did with it because again, that was a long time ago. But she got me one of the small ones. I think it maybe even had broken at one point. I can't remember. But so now I play on the small one, and I play all the games on there. I've got Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9. I've got Tactics. I've got a whole bunch of cool games on there. Some of the old redos. I think I've got Origins all now on that. Well, no, it's not like one of those mini PlayStations with like a ton of games. It's like a PlayStation Mini. You put the disc in, it still only plays one game at a time. It's not got loaded. It's one of those old ones that they came out with near the end of the original PlayStation's life. They just shrunk it down and made it really small. It's like that big, so it's not this. Yeah, no, so yeah, it's not one of those newer ones where it's retro. It's the original old school mini ones. So it was really cool to it's a nice little gift that my wife got me. Those are the cool days back when we had to put discs in now, and that's something that I've been really considering is going back and buying some of the old stuff because even though I have things like I have Chrono Cross on my PS4, I picked it up. It was a great game. I know it's the updated version, so the graphics are a little bit smoother. But if I go to my play, because I definitely at some point want to get a PlayStation 5 because Space Marine 2 is coming out, and oh my god, I have to have that game. I want to play Final Fantasy 16, and I want to hop on some other stuff. But if I move over to PlayStation 4 or 5, I'm going to re-download those games again, right? I'd rather just have the media, and I do have Chrono Cross, so I've been actually really pushing on actually buying media instead of just streaming everything because streaming is cool, but streaming stuff leaves. I mean, what was it? I watched Doctor Who today. I watched the third holiday special on Disney Plus. I remember when I watched the end of the last season of Doctor Who. I was watching on, I believe it was, what was it here? Crave here in Canada. And then Crave's like, okay, well, when after that's done, it's disappearing. We no longer have it. So now they don't have Crave. It's not a Crave anymore. So now it's on, like, I don't even know where to get it right now. So, and what's really kind of annoying is if I want to watch the new stuff, it's on Disney Plus. But BritBox through Prime has has all the original stuff. Plus, they have the new stuff starting with the series reboot 2005 up to the end of Peter Capaldi's era. So they don't even have Jodie Whittaker's era yet. So it's like there's like 3 or 4 different places I have to go to watch Doctor Who. So I've really been pushing out. I should probably start picking these up so I have them, so I can watch them. Not having to go which streaming service am I paying for now to get it. Right? It's a bit ridiculous. So I mean, God, streaming services are now as bad as cable was. They were supposed to make things better and replace cable. Well, it kind of became the very thing they were trying to get rid of. Ain't that the way it works? So, but yeah. So back to this. So we do have. This is still tacky. So this is gonna get all dried up. Actually, it looks pretty good. I don't think I'm gonna have to do too much touching up. See a little bit here and there. Definitely want to make sure I've got all this done up because I want it to look really good for when it comes time to do all the dry brushing on here. Just want to make sure I've got everything sort of covered up. Looking pretty good now, though. I don't think I'm gonna have too much more to worry about. I'll get this in. This is one of the rough ends here. Yeah, I got lots of nerdy things I've been a fan of over the years. Star Trek and Doctor Who, Warhammer 40,000, comic books. Lots of cool stuff in comic books. This is actually looking pretty good. I think I did it thick enough that it did get in everywhere it was supposed to go for the most part. Just the back end here. Looking good. Looking good. This side, it wasn't as good though. It's got a crease in it. I gotta make sure I get everything in there. Make sure I don't have any little white spots. They annoy me. Out, damn spot and all that good stuff, right? Just trying to think what else I got for Christmas over the years. Got white dwarfs, obviously, and paints and brushes and all that stuff. But I think yeah, for me, the big one's Battle for McCraig. That was really cool. That was one of the ones, the 4th edition starter set. Still my favorite edition of all time is 4th. And now we're on 10th, so we're far away from those days. I think it was probably one of the best editions, had the most character to it. The codexes were amazing. Not that they're not great now, but those codex are just top-notch. There was something about them, there's a feel of them. I don't know what it was. It was really, really cool. All right. See, I like looking at them different angles so I can get everything. Oops. Make sure everything's right where it should be. We have to go and get that little paints in. I don't know. Thirsty. It's been a long day. Now, what about you, G? You got any cool memories of getting hobby stuff during the Christmas season? That's sort of what one part of the chat was about today. It's mentioned that for me, Christmas and the hobby are linked, just because I've got so many cool memories around Christmas time with the hobby and all that. Right? It's a great time. I mean, was it a couple years ago now? Mythos sent me that Odd Boy. Was it Odd Bruiser, which I painted up. It's fantastic. It was a great little Christmas surprise, and had a cool orc model to paint up. And it was a fantastic model. My God, Gear Guts makes great models. Amazing. I've only had the one, but oh my God, I was so impressed by that model. It was amazing. So yeah, this is looking like it's pretty well done up here. Just trying to take care of any extra. There we go. Oh yeah, I loved it, man. It was a fantastic model. Lots of little details, and the way that it's a big orc too. Like, he is big, which is the way orcs should be. They should be big and beefy and scary, and they give Marines trouble. They should definitely be something a little bit, even the weird boys. I was always, back in the day, the weird boys, the old school ones were always a bit on the small side when we got them. Not that there were too many, but they're always a bit small, a bit just looking for something here. They always seem to be a bit weedy compared to the rest. Obviously, their psychic powers are making up for the lack of pure beefy stopping power, but this guy is big. Yeah. And I'm going to spend hopefully some of the 2 weeks. I have 2 weeks off for Christmas, which is nice. So I'm going to hopefully spend some of that getting some of my models painted up. I know in January I'm going to be in a sort of a painting challenge to see what I can get done. I've done it before, but I'm going to see if I can get stuff done, because I still have a whole bunch of models just sitting there. I have 5 Reavers and a Reaver Lieutenant to do up, a bunch of Hellblasters to do up. Mythos gave me those too. I got a bunch of Hellblasters I got to get done up. And pretty much all the rest of, I have 5 of the Infernus Marines done. I got to get the rest of them done up, and everything else from the Leviathan box set. Me and brother got Warhammer 40th starter. He had the Dark Elder. Oh, the Dark Elder. Such horrible models. I mean, they weren't that bad. but they weren't that good either. But yeah, no, it was a cool set. I like that set because it was just a bit different, right? It was, if went to the second edition, it was filled with Space Marines, and you had a fake dreadnought, and you had like a, not a dreadnought, but an orc dread. It was paper, right? And you'd actually put in a stand, and that was your dreadnought, right? But you had a big size army, and then all of a sudden you went down to two, like a tactical squad and a land speeder against 20 Dark Eldar. I think that's when they introduced the what was it? The plastic jungle scenery. Really cool. The whippy sticks, yes, the whippy sticks. Those were used for punishment. The whippy sticks. If you don't know what the whippy sticks are, is because they've changed things up. You had a red ruler. It was just this thin red stick from I think 1 to 24, and it was weird because it's flat on the top and the numbers were, but at the bottom sides actually came down like that, right? And one end was pointy, right? And the other end was rounded at where 0 was. And just you could whip people with these things. These things became deadly weapons. Yes, jungle trees, the ruins. You had some barrels. Yes, right. Yeah, that was pretty cool. It was basically, I think they put off as the Space Marines were supposed to be defending their ammo dump from the Dark Eldar. I mean, that was cool. I love those, especially third edition codexes were cool because actually they all came with a mission or missions at the end of the book. They were basically there to represent the army you'd chosen fighting in their preferred method, right? It was a cool mission to try and help showcase why your army was cool. I remember the Space Marine was cool because it was a tactical squad. No, sorry. It was an HQ and two troop choices against an HQ and elite of the other army, and it was to showcase that your basic Space Marine troops with a match of elites from other armies. And that was, for a while, it was true. Not anymore. No. Nowadays, God, not they have elites. They don't do elites anymore, obviously, now, but that was way back in the day, right? And they all had something special. That was back in the day when it was sort of the wild, the Templar art, and his art is all over those books. He had so much art in those books, all of them. But I remember it was kind of like the Wild West back then. As I remember, if you had the and it wasn't as bad as today. If you wanted to play, like, say, Blood Angels, you had the Space Marine Codex and the Blood Angel Codex. But they weren't even like half the sizes. Like, that's not super thick, and they were like half the size. But both of these, this probably has more pages than both those codexes put together. But you had things like the Catachan Codex. So you had to have the Imperial Guard Codex and the Catachan Codex. But they had an elite unit, the Catachan Devils unit, and they specifically said in the Codex they weren't making models for it. It was so you could make your own personalized veteran squad of Catachan warriors, right? And obviously they don't do it anymore because of just the amount of money that can be made nowadays. All the weird IP issues they've had over the years and the lawsuits and all that. They don't do it anymore. Every unit in the book has to have a model, and every model has to have a unit in the book. It was super grimdark. I mean, that's the thing. I know people said it's gotten less grimdark now, but it's definitely still grimdark. Like, I've been reading stuff. It's still super grimdark. I don't know why people think it's gotten less grimdark. I think they've gone a little less descriptive in the books a bit, but like 40K is still super grimdark. I read The Infinite and Divine, and that's definitely from Necron point of view, but it's still super grimdark, right? Yeah, it's more polished now. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think I loved his art because it looked so grimdark, just because it wasn't super clean. He could evoke such cool stuff from it. I remember there's a really cool picture. I think it was in it. I mean, it's been around for a while, but I know it was predominantly shown in the Demons of Chaos book, or Chaos Demons. Everyone wants a 40K version, and it's this blood angel, and he's just standing there blasting away, and there's this tide of demon just coming right down him, covering over part of his shins and coming up behind him and just blasting away. It's classic John Bell. And all the stuff he did for the Horus Heresy. There's a ton of stuff there. Ton of stuff in there. All the different units that he sketched out and drew. It's great stuff. And I remember, I have the code, not the, I have the rule book downstairs, and it was just still have that, and it was thick because it was such a big reset that the armies were actually in the back of it too. It's just filled with his art, and it's just incredible. There's awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So these are almost dry. So what I'm going to try and do with these, I'll try and show you guys here. It's a bit hard. So we're going to have, that's the front piece there. It's the longest piece. And these are going to fit in like that. Right? You see the white there. So part of it's going to go like that. And the other part's going to go like that. So that's going to be the base for it, right? That'll be the primary walls. And I'm going to have a piece of foam board that's going to go in here at the correct height to allow the Space Marines to look out enough, or whatever models. Well, I'm going to always use Space Marine to look out so they can see and be seen and shoot stuff. And of course, there's another piece that's going to go on top that's high enough so that there's still the viewpoint. And it'll be fun. Again, it's something I've a big fan of the art. Used to just look at the books. Yeah, the art was fantastic. I mean, it still is fantastic. It's definitely changed over the years. I was looking at my Space Marine Codex, and the art's far more refined. Still super crazy though. I mean, they still a way to draw. There's one of the first pictures in the book is an ancient. He's got the big banner there. He's blasting with his bolter. They've kind of put bolters and bolt rifles in the same sort of vein now, but he's got his bolt weapon, but he's still got like chunks of bone jabbed into his armor with purity seals and fetishes, and it's an Ultramarine, right? They'll do it, and he's just blazing away, scars on his bare head. So I think the dark gothic part is still there. I don't know. It's just I don't know. Still cool though. I've been watching on the cool James Workshop stuff they did again. His own little. If you haven't seen it, it's funny. I know it's Games Workshop, and they still seem to have sense of humor. They had the James Workshop doing one of his, when's your cutoff for Christmas shipment, but it was done in sort of a Christmas Carol sort of thing, where he gets visited by ghosts and all that. But one of the cool little things they dropped is like, Codex Zotes, yes, excellent. You're like, Codex Zotes, really? God, I hope not. But if you want grimdark, look up the Zotes. They're pretty grimdark, but it's cool, funny stuff like that. I appreciate that. Just popped in my head. I appreciate the humor behind that, because they have thrown us for some curveballs with, Sisters of Battle coming out and we seeing it on a clock. And then their April Fool's joke about the squats, our League guys back again, the Leagues of Votan. Oh, Space Gaver, never need to. That was, if you don't know what he means by Space Gaven, there was a, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, everybody wanted Space Gaven because you basically had everything, right? It got to the point where they said no. And I think it actually, there's a race, another race out there called the Hrud. And they have, and you'll see it in some of the old timeline stuff in histories. The Hrud are, actually, I'm going to look that up because I want to make sure I've got the right thing here. Hrud. Come on. Hrud. Yeah, if I'm, there it is. Yeah, the Hrud, that's it. So they're actually in the 3rd edition rulebook. They're talking about xenospecies, and you see one, and it's this hunched over thing with these robes, and it's got a gun, these skinny legs popping out, and a tail, a rat tail. And so I was like, oh my God, Space Game. Obviously, they're just joking around. far more back in the day than now. Hey guys, hey, no problem, no problem. Yeah, it's sick there for a little while, but now we're back. But far more back in the day than now. They actually had Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k sort of joined. So there were little hints here and there, right? Obviously, you had over the years you had dwarves and squats. You had you had chaos. Obviously, the chaos demons could go back and forth. The chaos gods and all that. The Eldar and the elves are pretty much just. So there was a big thing about Space Skaven, and that was the Hrud, right? Because they actually work the same way as a Skaven. Their burrow is they hit a planet, they burrow in, they destroy the planet, take everything they can, and leave. But over the years, they actually changed them. The art changed, so they went from being these rat things to more. They're almost lizard-like now, and they gave them a bunch of their abilities where they could actually they don't destroy stuff by burrowing and stealing. Now they'd actually have like a time warp about them. They age stuff as they go thing, right? They literally age stuff to discrepancy in front of them, right? So it was, but Swamp Thing, yeah. So they kind of had they changed them so they don't have tails. They don't like rats anymore. There's actually at one point in some of the old books where you would have Chaos Space Marines in the warp, and they would pop in, and you could have. I'm pretty sure there are models that sort of you would have a Chaos Space Marine in a fantasy arm. His arm would be rent and destroyed, and he'd be using a sword and a shield or something. He'd be using the weapons of fantasy, but he was definitely supposed to be a Chaos Space Marine. And there was actually a campaign. Was it the Albion? I think it was, where basically you're on an island and you're fighting for this island, this mist-shrouded island, and all the weapons were 40k weapons. You had an Auspex, a Hand Flamer, a Power Fist, a Force Stave, and I believe a claw from a Striking Scorpion, right? One of their claws. That's basically what it was. It was 40k gear in fantasy. And I know this even went to the point during so there was this big connection, and they sort of made them definitely further and further apart. I remember during the end time stuff, they didn't say, but it was this Knight of Grey that one of these people met in the warp. One of these high elves, I think it was high elves. Some one of the good guy sides met a knight in the warp. And he gets stabbed at one point, just shrugs it off and starts killing chaos demons left, right, and center. It's basic Keldor Drago. They don't say it. There's not even a picture. It's just a big description. But basically, they bumped into the Grandmaster of the Grey Knights running around slicing up chaos demons. Rats in space. No one can hear you squeak. Yeah, God, I hope not. Oh, there was a whole point. I remember at one point, I guess someone was in a White Dwarf. Someone got ticked off because of all the people going, well, I'm going to make my Skaven in space. I'm going to make this. I'm going to make an army of Grand Cathay. And they're going, no, you can take whatever models you want, and you can make rats in space and use the orc rules or use this rules, but it's not that, because we don't have it made models. Therefore, it's not that. They took this wonderful example. Someone made an army of Grand Cathay back in the day, and they used a mixture of high elf bits and I can't remember what else. Lots of high elves, because they do have something of a, back in the day at least, had something of a Asian inspired background to some of their models. And they did that, and they had elemental pieces that or elemental monsters that don't exist anymore because it was for fantasy back in the day, and made this big army. I said, looks great, but it's not an army Grand Cathay, it's a high elf army, because they've never done anything for Grand Cathay. So I guess they were trying to make a point, but I wanted Rat Guard. No, Rat Guard, I remember one of the guys I worked with, well, back in the day, there were 2 Games Workshop stores in Ottawa. I worked at one, and this guy worked at the other one, and he actually he made a squat army, right? It was a guard army, but he took Cadian torsos and Cadian arms, right? So he had the torso and the arms with the blast gun, but then he took dwarf heads, dwarf legs to make his guard, and he had a whole ton of them. So he had platoons full of these short little guys. He even took the Lehman Russ battle tanks to make them a bit more squat. No pun intended. He actually took the turret off and put the main cannon on the front where the last cannon would go, right? And he moved the last cannon around but it looked amazing. So he had a squad army before the squads came back. And then there was another guy who made a Gene Stealer cult army. Again, he was around long enough to remember the original version of the Gene Stealer cult, and he made one. And it was, I'm trying to remember what he used for it. Again, he used guard parts with Tyranid parts to make his warriors. Right? Again, he was kind of going on remembered, and he did actually build the old school Gene Stealer cult limo. Back in second edition, they had a limo. It was their vehicle. It was a big hunking piece of metal, looked ugly as sin, but they had a limo, so he built one. And and was brilliant because he'd been at this even longer than I had. He had the old version of the Gene Stealer Patriarch. So the big fat guy sitting in a chair, he had that, and that was his HQ choice. I can't remember what he used for it. I'm trying to remember which list. I don't remember if he was using. I think at one point he was using Lost in the Damned from the original version of 13th Black Crusade, because you'd have it like a Space Marine as your leader. There were mutants of all kinds, big ones, small ones. You had Traitor Guard. So yeah, basically what Gene Stealer cult is now, because without the Marine part, but you have the big hybrids, the smaller ones. You've got the Gene Stealers. You've got the Traitor Guard. You've got the first, all that crazy stuff. So hey, how you guys doing there? Gamers with Coffee, Ashley, how you doing? Sorry, didn't mean to ignore you there. I'm glad to be back. And how are you guys doing? Hopefully everything's going well for you. We're actually just waiting right now for some scenery to dry up. I'm just doing little touch-ups here and there. Make sure that it's all covered up so that I can start getting these dry brush. This is like the first stage of it. I'm going to have like a pillbox sort of thing once it's all said and done. Just waiting for these to dry up, and then I'm going to dry brush them. And we're going to have a nice little pillbox. There's going to be a roof to it, the whole shebang, but got to get stuff painted first and then dry brushed up afterwards. But I think this is coming along nicely. I'm just trying to touch up little bits here and there. Try and make sure there's no white showing through. This is part that can take a little while because I'm trying very hard to make sure. A bit of my OCD there. But yeah, so that's going to be the front of it. Now, some areas, the bottom, I'm not, and these these white lines here are where I'm going to be gluing the other parts to them, so they don't really need to have paint there. I'm going to use a hot glue gun to get that all put together. Just trying to get everything done up. I find when I'm just using dollar store brushes and dollar store paints there to get them all done up. And sometimes I find the only downside of this paint is when it dries, like most paint does, it contracts a bit. And so you think you've covered everything, and then it pulls back and you realize you haven't. And you just got to go over it a bit more and make sure you've got everything. See, I'm seeing a few little bits here. Make sure I can get those covered up. Well, yeah, so that's what we're doing right now. Now I'm just kind of waiting for things to dry. Well, I'll ask you guys the same question I asked everybody else. And one of the other things that we're chatting about tonight is, I find for me anyways, the Christmas season, Christmas itself is now like fully linked with great memories of the hobby, because there's lots of cool hobby stuff, whether it's paints, models, sets, during the Christmas. So I wonder if you guys had any. We've seen some cool ones here. If you guys have any stories or any cool, hobby memories around the Christmas time, right? So please share. So yeah, this is coming along nicely. It's gonna look nice when it's all done up. I have to finish up the flooring as well. I'll get a flooring piece. It's gonna go right in there. I just cut that out, so I'm gonna have to paint it up as well. I'm probably gonna have to build part of it and then slide it in, and then hot glue gun the other part. Make sure the floor is level. I don't want anything rickety going on. I'm better than that. Damn it. Oh yeah, so Beasts of Chaos at work. I'm going back to that. No, man. They're too big. Like Beasts of Chaos are huge because they've been infused with the power of chaos. The Hrud are not of chaos. They're something else. But yeah, no. That's what we're doing now. Now's the fun part. The waiting. Waiting is the hardest part. So I want to make sure this is dry before I try anything else. But yeah, no, that's I'm trying to think of some other stuff that's come up. I mean, the general craziness of life being what it is. That's why I was gone for a couple weeks there, just being sick. Right, I had I had a cold and I had a gastro thing, and now that's making its way through my family. The kids got it, and spent the night last night cleaning up throw up because when the kids decide to spew everywhere, lots of fun. But yeah, no, definitely let me know, right? Oh, the other thing is for Megan Ashley there. I went home. Not that I don't go home very often. Actually, I probably don't. But the kids want to look through what used to be our rooms, and I found this old book. So this is a technical manual. I got 91 for the Enterprise D, good old Star Trek Next Gen. And so I was looking through that today, and it is a technical manual. It's got everything in here. And I can't remember I read it there. It's in the medical-based stuff, but it talks about some of the cool little things that you can't see on the main screen, like on the screen when you're watching TV. But it mentions, very, very painfully, I must say, VCRs. I haven't seen a VCR in a long time, so it was kind of like, oh, but it's still a funny thing. It's like the Jeffries tubes on the original series were named after the set designers. His last name was Jeffries. And even to this day, I think they still do it. They have, when they open up a panel, pull a panel off a wall to fix stuff, and you'll see a tube going through. And it's GNDN. Will be on all these tubes. And it's, again, it goes back to the original series where it says, goes nowhere, does nothing. There's a little inside joke. So you'll see these tubes every time you watch the original series, and you'll see Scotty up on these Jeffries tubes, or they'll pull a panel off a wall. They're fixing something. You'll see these pipes going through, just plastic piping. It just says GNDN, goes nowhere, does nothing. Right? It's a great little joke, and this thing's got it. So this is one of the cool nerdy memories I have from Christmas. I got this one year, and I know I read this thing back to front a million times over, right? And it's full on technical. It's like how everything from the deflector dish to photon torpedoes to the captain's yacht to shuttlecraft, and right, everything else that got in here, medical systems, right? So, and how everything works. It's a lot of fun. Makes me kind of wish Games Workshop would make something a technical. I think they have it. I know at some point they've done some cool stuff that's been sort of. I know they did the uplifting, the infantryman's uplifting primer was pretty funny, but I'd love to see them to do some sort of Adeptus Mechanicus book that just describes in absolute horror and absolute mysticism for technology, how all their gear works, how Bolter works, how everything from Lasgun down to their most simple medical stuff works. Of course, they'd have to talk about machine spirits and appeasing them and all the rites and all that, right? I remember one of the old books. There was a joke about the joke is that they go through this massive spiel, lots of recite this canticle while making this sigil out of oil, and do this, recite this, and do this, and recite that, and touch this, and it's all to turn like an engine on. It's just to press a button to turn something on, but it's like a 45-minute ordeal of chanting and moving the incense over it and making all the right sigils out of oil and making sure this is done, all to hit a power button. Right? Like imagine taking 45 minutes to turn your computer on because you have to make sure you appease the machine spirit. Before you can see the power button, you have to put the sacred oils on and chant over it and run incense over it, and right, and then hit the power button and hopefully it works, because that's how mystical. I'd love to see something like that. So just a weird thought that came out there. I'd love to see something like that. That'd be really cool. And if you haven't had a chance, it's hard to find now, but the Infantryman's Uplifting Primer is fantastically funny book because it is just absolutely filled with lies. Right? Everything from fighting orcs. Oh, it's super easy. Fighting orcs is easy. They're dumb. You could totally beat them. Right? To if you get blown out into space, just hold your breath and we'll come pick you up. It's literally in there. And it's funny, there's actually a part that's in there, and it says at the beginning of it, one of the sections is like, this is for officers only. If you're caught reading this, you will be executed, right? So they don't read it. And it flips in there, and it's like, if you see someone's out lost in space, don't get them, they're dead, right? And then there's like, again, there's like the first like 5 pages, just all the things you can be killed for, all the things you could be punished and executed for. There's like 3 pages of it, 3-4 pages. It's hilarious. If you can find it, get it. It is hilarious because this is what they give the guard. So obviously you have to realize some of the guard are pretty stupid because they're reading this going, oh, if I get sucked out into space, I'm good. I'll just get picked up. And they're like, no, we're not picking them up. They're dead. Just leave them. Of course, the guard don't know. Some of the guard are stupid. Again, it's one of the great inconsistencies I find hilarious in 40K, where they basically say that the guard are not the smartest people, but then whenever you see guard being written properly, they're normal people and they're pretty intelligent and they know when they're being lied to. But right, it's imperial propaganda versus reality, right? So I don't know. I find it funny. So this is mostly dry. I may, if you guys don't mind, I may run off to get the white paint. I may actually will start dry brushing these, which I'm shocked because I didn't think I'd get the opportunity to. So if you hold with me, guys, just for a few minutes, I'm going to get some white paint, and I'm going to go clean off my brush because it's a mess. But I will be back, guys. Just hold still. I will be right back. And I am back now. So that's okay. I have a clean brush now. And I've got white paint. Welcome back. Thank you. Yes. So we'll just take a little bit of white here. Oh, it's a bit chunky. Ew. And we're just going to mix that together. See if we can't get a nice gray. I like that. That's good. All right, and we're going to just dry brush that on there. So we'll start with this piece right here. All right, so now we're going to just start dry brushing the heck out of this thing. I'll make sure we're good. There we go. That's one of my favorite parts, dry brushing the heck out of stuff. Why not? And because it's terrain, you don't have to go super cool on it. It doesn't have to be the best. Again, the 3-foot rule is something I go by. Is does it look cool at 3 feet? Because that's where you're going to be from the table usually, right? So we're just gonna get this on here. Make sure we hit up the edges. That's what is important. What's up, the Gamecraft Dragon? How's it going, my friend? We're just working on dry brushing some terrain right now. We're talking about Christmas and favorite hobby memories that have to do with Christmas. As I mentioned earlier, I've got a bunch of them. A lot of the stuff I've gotten over the years has been given to me around Christmas. It's always sort of an important time for me. What up? Welcome. Glad to have everybody here. We're just doing some dry brushing right now. Just mentioning I was kind of surprised I was able to get this much done tonight. I'm just dry brushing wall segments that I'm going to be glue gunning into a pillbox / bunker sort of thing once it's all said and done. But right now we're just getting the first sort of dry brush on here. And you may notice this is white right here. It's going to get, this piece is going to get glued together like that to sort of form the outer wall of the bunker. Right? This is from, several weeks ago now, where I had all this extra stuff lying around, foam. I wanted to do something with it. I wanted to figure out what to do with it so it wasn't just sitting there collecting dust. So I broke up this long piece I have, and now we're turning it into a bunker. There's another piece that's going to be the sort of roof, and I found these cool little plastic spacers I had from, I think they're part of a TV mount that goes in your wall. Ones I'll never use, and they're going to get glue gunned to that roof part, so I can take it off, move the models around. There's also going to be a floor in there, so the models, be that much visible over the edge, right, as they go along. That way they it gives the appearance that they're firing out. And right now it's just getting the first layer of paint on here, the first dry brush layer. We're going to do subsequent layers afterwards. It'll be a bit lighter. Use some other stuff in there to give it a. This is just the fun part. And again, I'm using just a dollar store brush and some dollar store paints. Nothing crazy. You don't have to go super expensive, which, trust me, nowadays is a bonus. I do stuff on the cheap. That's how I like it. Because things ain't cheap right now, as I think we all know. So just mixing up some black and some white. Trying to get this looking good. Got a rough end here, so that shouldn't be too bad. Should be able to. And there's a nice old school feeling to know that you can mix your own paints. It's like it's a lost art nowadays. People just have their. Not that there's anything wrong with not mixing your paints. I'm old school that way. I like to. All right, so that's that part done up. Get a bit more on that edge there. Of course, with the inside too. This is a lot of fun. I like this because we're also doing stuff just because it's creative. You just get the painting out of there. You don't have to worry too much about details. Working on some Death Guard for myself. Oh, hey, good luck next Saturday. A nice tournament. What are you going for? Typhus and his cohort of just what's your game plan for that one? What's your game plan for the tournament? Lots of Death Guard. Are we going mechanized? Lots of Plague Bearers. Not Plague Bearers. What are they? Plague Zombies, whatever they are. You know what I mean. Which reminds me, I gotta start getting some stuff ready for my armies. I need to Typhus, 5 blobs of Plague Marines. Cool. No more Tarian. I'm pretty sure he's just a big sort of target on the field, being the size he is, even with all his powers. And 2 squads of Reaper Termies. Cool. So the little Reaper Termies, they're pretty cool. Dry brushing. Yeah. Good old Typhus. I do love the fact that he's kind of like that if you get the Nurgle, the Death Guard box set, he's really like the combat patrol. He's really the only combat patrol that actually has a character in it like that. All the rest of them just have your generic leader type guy, but the fact that you've got Typhus in one always kind of throw me for a little bit of a loop. Like, really, that's all right. And so that's sort of the first little bit of a layer done on these. You can see sort of it's taking on that gray now instead of being perfectly black. So next we'll add a little bit more white to the next one and get a bit of a lighter, and we're going to not go as much on this one. This is almost became overbrushing. Right, yeah, it's a fun list, very sturdy. Yeah, it should be. The Death Guard that's what they're known for, right? Being extra sturdy. All right. Yeah, that's a bit better. It's a bit lighter. Now we're just going to be a little bit gentler on this. We're just going to go to the raised areas gently over the lined areas here. A bit lighter. A little bit lighter. Some more white in there, I think, honestly. Ew. Chunky. Came out like a toot. All right. That's a bit better. That's more along the lines of what I need. That stands out a bit more. Yeah, that's good. Well, good luck with the tournament. Hopefully you place well and you make Nurgle happy with your offerings. That's better. That's more along the lines of what I wanted. That's one done. Oh, we're gonna get the inside of it there. What I like doing with this is because I'm going to have a piece here. I don't want all this shading, this lighter to come down. So I'm only doing the top there to pick up the edges, and that's it. It's going to be the same in all of them. So like when I do here, just sort of dry brush the top there, get the edge. That's kind of what you want. A little bit more on the top here where the light is. And then a little bit all over here just to give a variation on the gray we originally had. The ending here. There you go. And just a little bit up here just to sort of show where the light should get in when you're actually in there. So I'm going to just get the top there. Gonna go through here a bit more. And there you go. So that's actually kind of where I wanted to be with this. So obviously there's the front piece there, and I've done a lot of it's hard to see it, everybody's done lots of, just took a knife and dug out pieces there. Look where the concrete's been blasted away by small arms fire. And then this is gonna just stick on there, and this part will stick on there like that once it's glued together. Glue gun that together, and there will be a piece in there as flooring, which will allow me to nice flooring in there, and then of course the other piece. But that's kind of where I wanted it, to be honest. Actually, I don't think we have these reversed, but yeah. So that's all that's said and done. It's gonna look pretty nice, I think, when it's all done. So there we've got it. Obviously the bottom hasn't been done, don't need to paint that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. I think we're done. Did a good job. So next, I actually have to go out and buy some more glue gun sticks because I found my glue gun, but I don't have any sticks left. So I'm going to pick up a little package of those, and then we'll get these put on. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one side on first, then get the flooring piece put in here, and then I'll glue the second piece in like that. And then of course I get the top done too. But that's downstairs. I didn't think I was going to get to it tonight, and I'm not leaving again. But yeah, so that turned out not so bad. I'm going to have to clean this stuff up afterwards. Yeah. So yeah, Mr. The Gamecraft Dragon. There, one of the things we chatted about, I'd love to hear from from some of you on this. Is we already heard from Mythos and a few others. Um, for me, as I said before, my hobby and the holiday season are linked because a lot of the gifts I've gotten, a lot of the cool stuff I've received hobby wise, I've gotten at Christmas. So I've got lots of cool hobby memories. I talked with you, and the first bunch of stuff I got at Christmas. Right after I started, it was the summer when I actually started getting into 40K with the Ultramarines Codex. But by that winter, I was like hooked, and I bothered my parents incessantly. And I got a box. I got these cool little small boxes. So I got 5 uh, tactical Marines, the old school standalone. They all sort of did the same thing. Their weapons like this. I got 5 of the old school Imperial Guard stormtroopers, where they looked much more like British paratroopers than anything else. They had the berets, the military fatigues, and a big backpack, and the las guns. I also got a blister of 2 um, Chaos Beastmen, metal ones, and both pose the same way: an axe in one hand, the arm in front of them, a little nub that you put the shield on, right, and the square bases. And of course, then I had one of the ones I got was Morgana Le Fay for the Bretonnian army. She's a full metal model. She's sitting there, arms raised up in one hand, something in this hand, can't remember, sitting saddle on this big uh, unicorn with a little frog familiar. So it's really cool to have this again. Half of them are. I think I still have some of the Marines. Everything else I got rid of or lost in my youth, whatever. But it was a really cool. And again, the next one of the other big ones is when I was given um, the Battle for McCraig box set. I spent my entire Christmas vacation just playing around with that, painting it up, going through the missions. But I still have a ton of those Marines lying around. So, and the little Lieutenant Varus, I remember him, the little pilot that came there. Actually, I used him in my Halloween, my ill-fated Halloween stream that magically disappeared. Very creepy, but he's still around. I still have him. So that was really cool. Lots of fun there. If you have any Halloween, now I'm thinking Halloween, holiday Christmas memories that are intertwined with your hobby history, that we'd love to hear about them. Right? Mythos shared some as well, and as did G there, our friend from Funk and Hungry. Some cool stuff, right? All that we've had over the years. So if you want to share, please do by all means. All right. As I pour over my, again, this is the fun part, is the waiting. I want to make sure everything's dry and ready to go because it looks good. It's good. I don't know. I like it. Plus, it still looks rather darkish, which is okay because I'm a big fan of the grim dark, right? So, yeah, if you want to share, please do. Looking at how maybe he can't. Maybe typhus has swollen his throat up with contagion, and now he's just a pox walker, sitting there, moaning away, droning away for Nurgle to save him from his pain. But yeah, so I'm glad this turned out really well. I'm tempted to do more. I might actually try and make it even whiter than before. Get another light gray on there. Ew. Have you heard that? Kind of a gooey one. Biggest one was the year I went back into hobby. I was messing around with some ideas, and my 10-year-old overheard me talking to someone about it and bought me the layout. That's awesome. That's cool. Nothing wrong with getting back in the hobby with a paint set or anything like that. It's a lot of fun. All right, that's a bit better, but still not white enough. Come on, out you come, paint. You want to come out. There. You want to come out. That's better. All right. Well, that's good. We'll use this as a final little coat. Yeah, that's good. That's the stuff. That's the ticket. Make sure I get lots off here. That is great. That's a great story. It's always fun to get back into things after a while. So we're just going to do a very light dry brush on the edges. I really want this to pop a bit more than it has. That's better. That's what I want. See, it's already a bit brighter now than it was before. That's not what I was looking for. Go over the edges, get them highlighted a bit more. I really want it to be more gray than dark, right? I still want it to look like, grim darkiness, but I definitely want it to not be too dark. Then it just looks unpainted. And I can't stand when things look unpainted, especially after you spend a whole bunch of time trying to paint them. All right, that looks much better. That is much better. Okay, I'm happy with that now. That turned out much better. Yeah, that's much, much, much better. That looks a lot better. Okay, that makes me happy now. That makes me even happier. So once this is all done up, it looks much better. Much. If you can see the much better now. Okay, get that glued together now and have some fun with that. Yeah, so that will be got cleaning up to do now. Yeah, but I am going to end it there for now, guys. It's a little bit earlier than normal, but I'm getting very tired, and I got a lot more accomplished tonight than I thought I would. So I think what we'll do for next one is we'll probably paint up the top part there, and we'll start getting and the flooring because I got to get that painted up and figure out how high I really want it. Thank you very much, Mythos. Thank you. And as always, guys, thank you very much for tuning in and supporting me and liking and having fun with me. I love these chats, and I think from what I've seen, you guys like them too. I got cleaning up to do now. But as always, guys, keep rolling those dice. I will see you later. Bye.